start the recording? Thank you so much. Before we start, I'd like to acknowledge the beautiful territories of the Tsleil-Waututh, Squamish, and Musqueam Nation on which the BCIT campuses are located on. Always an honor to work on such beautiful territories. I'm Caroline Depetier, the Associate Dean for Business Administration in the School of Business, and along with Alicia Gardner, will be your broader host today, but we have a few guests joining us, which I'll talk about in a minute. If you do have questions throughout this webinar, please write them in the Q&A. You can find them at the bottom of your screen. We'll try to leave the chat alone, although if you have something, you can write in the chat as well, but if it's a question, just do the Q&A first. These webinars are here to help you to be successful. Again, they're recording, so you can rewatch them, or you can tell your friends to watch them at any time. Hopefully you'll have a chance to watch all 8 before you start. And today, again, our facilitator that's going to talk about time management is Morgan Westcott. Maybe Morgan, maybe you wave to us to know which one you are. Hello, we see your hands. Morgan is the Associate Dean for Marketing Management. Morgan has been at BCIT for a while. She graduated from one of our programs in 2004. Which one again, Morgan?
Marketing Management.
Yes, awesome. And now is the AD for that program. So it's really good to have Morgan. She has lots of experience. She's been an amazing instructor, and we're really happy to have her as an Associate Dean, very fresh over the last few months. She joins us today with how many of you? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 6. Is that what much I read? 6 guests, current students or graduates who will talk about tips about how to be successful with your time management. So again, thank you so much for joining us, everybody, today. I will remind you at the end, but next week's seminar is about the platforms we're going to be using for your courses. So the Learning Hub, we are all online, except for some broadcast and media courses. The majority of business courses are online in September. So next week is going to be about platforms and so on. But before we get to that, I guess I'll leave it to you, Morgan, to talk to us about time management. Again, if you have any Q&A questions, just put them in the section allocated for that at the bottom of your screen. Go, Morgan.
Okay, thank you very much, Caroline. So what I'm going to do is share my screen and grab my PowerPoint. So as mentioned, I have been at BCIT forever. I was a student in the marketing management program, and then I came back to teach in the program after working in the industry, and now I'm the Associate Dean of the department. I have taught in full-time studies and in part-time studies. And so what we've tried to do, myself and this panel, in putting together this presentation is it really applies to part-time students as well. The difference with part-time studies is you're a lot more self-directed. So all the more reason, all the better for you to join us for this session and to learn some of the tips from these very successful students and grads on how to manage your time, and also some philosophies that go a bit beyond that. First, I'd just like to say that I appreciate that sometimes parts of my body appear and disappear, much like Back to the Future. Maybe you don't get that reference. And the reason for that is I'm not sitting in a classroom on campus. I'm actually sitting in my basement. And so that's just to say that we, at BCIT, everyone is kind of in this same boat together. We all had to switch to online learning quite quickly, and we put a lot of focus into developing amazing programs for you. But at the end of the day, everyone is doing the best they have with what they have. And I think that you'll hear a few examples of that. So we're going to let the panel introduce themselves, and then I'm going to give you some insight into what BCIT is like, and then some of the keys to self-management. So beyond just managing your time, really getting in the right mindset, prioritizing what you have to do, and the tools that can help you be successful. And then I'll turn it over to the panel for some words of wisdom, and then we'll let you ask your questions either about anything we've talked about or just about your program or how to get the most out of your studies. So I've already been introduced. I will turn it over to the panel to introduce themselves.
All right. Hello, everyone. My name is Taryn Antelek, and I am entering my second year of the Marketing Management program in the Communications option. Currently, this summer, I've been working with Big Brothers Big Sisters in Langley. I've been working with them for some digital marketing as well as working on their summer programs.
Hi, my name is Maria Bushman. I'm a really recent grad of the Marketing Management program from the tourism option. Great timing, I know. And I'm currently working with BCIT Applied Research as a junior researcher. I'm stoked to be here.
Hi everyone, my name is Anita. I am also entering my second year at BCIT in Marketing Management, also in the Communications option. Me and Taryn were in the same set.
Hi everyone, I'm Melanie. I graduated 2 years ago in the Marketing Communications program. I'm currently a media buyer for Jungle Media, and I also do social strategy as a freelancer.
Hi everybody, my name is Daniel Rico. I am entering my second year of the Marketing Management program, also in the entrepreneurship option.
Hi folks, my name is Hunter Soanes. I'm a recent graduate of the Marketing Management program with a specialization in entrepreneurship. This September, I'll be entering the BBA program full-time, and in addition to being a student, I'm the president of the BCIT Student Association.
Unmute. So as you can see, we have a great panel for you tonight. And in preparation for this webinar, I asked our panel to provide me with some insight into what BCIT is like. And I'll just start off by saying that I think most of you are coming to BCIT because you want to work in industry, because you want to be successful. And in the case of part-time studies, a lot of you are already working. And so what you'll come to find at BCIT is the expectation of our students in all our programs is that you are going to very quickly become the professionals that you will be in industry so that you can make that transition quite smoothly. And so BCIT can be a lot different than other places of study. For example, it's a bit like boot camp. It's harder than I imagined. It was like I was being pushed to do more than humanly possible. Or comparing it to a kayak trip over rough seas. At first, your surroundings seem challenging and unpredictable, but over time, you become more comfortable navigating the environment. The BCIT is also about connection. It's more than studying and getting knowledge. It brings out the best in you and connects you with people who have the same passion and purpose in life. Not only will you grow academically, but you will also grow as a person. It's a fantastic experience in different team dynamics. BCIT loves teams, which is why you might hear people say BCIT stands for being crammed into teams. And it's not a marathon or a sprint. BCIT is a sprinting marathon. It will keep you on your toes and test you to the point of tears sometimes. It is hard and it can be intimidating, but that's why you're here. That BCIT takes the skills and aptitudes you have, teaches you a few more, and refines you into an efficient working professional. And that BCIT is like taking cough syrup when you're sick. You don't want to, it tastes awful, but it works, and you're happy that you did. And that BCIT is doable. It is really fast-paced and busy, but it is doable. So in your part-time program, you have a bit of an advantage, I would say, over some of our full-time students. So our full-time students don't get to choose when they come to school or what classes to take in what order. In your case, you do have that option. But even though you have the choice to add this into your busy schedule, it still means that you're going to have a very busy schedule. So we're going to offer up 3 keys to how you can really manage yourself and this process going forward. And the first is mindset, the second is prioritization, and the third is tools. So in terms of mindset, and maybe some of you have already done this, it's really helpful to write down your graduation or completion goals. And these are going to look very, very different for everyone who's listening to this webinar or this recording, because again, you might already be working in industry. You might be trying to upgrade and fill in some gaps in your training, but take the time now as you're getting ready to embark on this part of your studies to think about where you want to be. Maybe it's just getting to Christmas and having a certain GPA, right? Like by December of this year, I want to achieve 80% average in my courses. Or maybe it's because at the end of your program, you want really specific job offers from really specific types of employers. So get yourself mindful about that goal and actually physically write it down, right? Decide where the finish line is and physically write it down. Then it's really important that you prepare other people for what you're taking on. So your friends, your family, your employer, anybody who's really used to seeing more of you needs to know that they're probably going to see a lot less of you, or in this online learning environment, they're going to see a lot more of the back of your head, right? And make sure that the people in your circle are supportive of what you're doing. So again, depending on your stage of life, right, you might not have friends and family that are ready to support you on your educational journey. So you just want to start to think about that. You know, the people that you socialize with, maybe you're not going to see them for a little while because it's just time to really focus in on your goals. Definitely set up rewards for hitting milestones. So this is going to be really challenging. And if you hit those milestones, if you hit those goals, you want to give yourself a carrot. So maybe it is like a new laptop sleeve, or going to get a pedicure, or a new pair of skis, right? Whatever it is that you can do, even down to, I don't know, when I'm actually also a student right now at a program at UBC, and I have really ice cream based rewards for my mini milestones. And then if I make it to the end of my doctorate program, I have a really specific trip that I want to take. And thankfully, you know, by the end of my program, fingers crossed, I'll be able to take that trip. So something like that, right? Give yourself a carrot. And then learn how to take care of yourself. And I know some of the members of the panel are going to speak to that as well. But back when I was a BCIT student, I don't know if I should admit this on a webinar, I gained 20 pounds of candy weight. So there's, you know, as much as it's nice to have an ice cream reward here or there, you know, definitely think about your physical body and making sure that that you're feeding your brain good fuel and that you're keeping yourself kind of steady through this really fast-paced program of study. The next thing that you want to look at is how to prioritize your time and your tasks. And so this slide is courtesy of Hunter. I know a couple other members of the panel brought up this style of management as well when we were preparing this webinar. The idea is that you are going to have so much thrown at you at BCIT that you simply can't tackle it all in a day, right? Or in a week. So when you look at what you have to achieve, understanding that you have to look at things in a couple of different ways. First, how important it is, and then second of all, how urgent it is. And we've borrowed this from a former, very long time ago, US president who was awesome at running the country. And what he did was he looked at, okay, first of all, are the tasks that are very important and they're also very urgent. They have to be completed in a really timely way. Next, you want to look at the things that are not that important, but they're urgent. They have a time boundness to them. They have to be completed in a certain amount of time. Third, you want to look at very important tasks that are not urgent. And then fourth are not important, not urgent. So if you can rank your tasks, that's one way of prioritizing. Another way of doing this, this is from Maria, is just to traffic light your lists. So red is, okay, it's on fire. You have to get this done today. Yellow is, it would be best for everyone if you got this done today. And green is, these are the things that are nice if there's time. So you can go through with a highlighter tool, or you can color code your lists digitally to reflect these prioritizations. Another thing that's really important, especially if you're being crammed into teams, and this one's also courtesy of Hunter, is to prioritize yourself. So at BCIT, don't worry, you are going to be asked to do a lot of things with your fellow students. Even in part-time studies, you will be put into teams, and even digitally, you will be put into teams. So if you can do the task by yourself, go ahead and do it by yourself. If it's something that you can do by yourself, find a spot without distractions, put in some headphones, and get down to studying or down to working on whatever it is you need to do for your courses. If, on the other hand, you can't do it by yourself, then that's when you need to kind of put some measures into place to work effectively with your team. So some of those could be FaceTiming or Zooming with your group, making sure that you make an agenda and a schedule for those meetings when you are working with your team, and then sticking to that and not getting distracted. So you're going to get really good at setting those agendas ahead of time, emailing them out to everyone, and then having someone, you know, maybe post them in the chat, or making that someone's job on the team where they can say, hey, we said we were going to spend 5 minutes on defining the problem, and we've spent 10 minutes on defining the problem. We should now be on this point in our agenda. And that way, you know, you can really get through those team-based assignments as efficiently as possible. So some of the tools that you're going to need to study at BCIT are things like the Learning Hub, some kind of calendar, some kind of lists, the right device, and also communication is a tool in this regard. So there is an entire webinar all about the Learning Hub. I'm not going to take you on a complete and total tour of the Learning Hub, but just like the name, the BCIT Learning Hub at learn.bcit.ca is where all your classes are happening. So if you have a question about a class, if you want to know what's happening with your assignments or the calendar for the class, that's all going to be here in the Learning Hub. What I want to bring your attention to is something called notifications. So especially as a PTS instructor, I've gotten lots of feedback from students saying, I didn't know that that assignment was due on that day, to which I say, are your notifications enabled? And they say, what? So when you go to the Learning Hub and you click on your profile, you will see it says notifications. And you can go in and you can get as many instant notifications as you like. So I would start with more notifications. You can always go in and edit and say, okay, I actually need a little bit less intrusion from the Learning Hub. But especially things like when your assignment due date or the end date for something is 2 days away, or if your instructors uploaded and created some new content, or if your instructor says, hey, make sure that you're participating in the discussion forum, you're going to want to get some notifications that that discussion forum has changed. So having this content pushed to you is really helpful, and you can choose if you want that to come to your phone or to your email. So in terms of your setup, it doesn't have to be fancy. This is a picture of my setup at home. So no, I don't have some like $2,000 robotic desk, although I might have my eye on one. I have a pile of books that raised my laptop up to eye level so that when I'm reading, I'm not straining my neck, I'm not bending my body forward. I have a little cheap aluminum laptop stand that I got, and prevents my laptop from overheating and helps with that angle. And then I have my keyboard and my mouse. And then because I am an old, I use paper calendars and paper lists. So that is a printout of my timetable for the week. And then you can see all of the scribbles on there are my different appointments, as well as I use my digital calendar from work. And then you can see I have my to-do list for the afternoon when I took this photo. The first thing on my list was to make slides for this webinar, have a nap, I had a meeting, then I had to prep to go out, et cetera, and pick up my kids, boring stuff like that. So your list might look quite different. And this is the very, very analog way of making a list. I personally like paper lists. But of course, it is 2020, so you are welcome to use not paper if you like. A lot of people participating on our panel recommended that you use Google Calendar, not just a Google Calendar, but as someone said, Google Suite for everything. So they use the G Suite they have their Gmail, they use Google Docs, Google Sheets, I don't know what other wonders are contained in there, the calendar, but it's all interlinked, it's all synced up together so that they can share with each other. And probably, I'm guessing part of this is conscripting as many members of your teams to use this as well, so it's all interconnected. Lots of our panelists come up with custom solutions. This is a picture. Taryn was nice enough to send us a picture of her desktop. I just love these little star folders that she has for her different courses. So each course is a folder, and then you can see she also has a folder for the BCIT MA, which is a club that she's a part of. And then her weekly to-do list stays pinned to that very nice, clean, tidy, relaxing desktop. And it's all prioritized in terms of what she needs to do for specific courses. So there's a glamour shot of that beautiful, organized weekly to-do list. So she knows exactly what she needs to do for each class to stay on track. A couple other things that you're going to want to pay attention to. There is an entire webinar also on BYOD, or bring your own device. If someone says BYOD, this is what they mean. It means bring your own device. You're going to be learning from home. So there's a PDF that's available for the School of Business and Media, or you can watch the webinar, or both. It's going to tell you exactly what you need in terms of capability for starting your learning online, and then ideally eventually transitioning to campus. So you'll see things like classrooms may have limited access to power outlets. That's just helping you think ahead in terms of if you're making an investment in a new piece of technology. Our plan is eventually to get you back in the classroom, so you want to be able to do both. So one of the other, and I think most important tools in doing well at BCIT is communication. And this is especially important if you are in part-time studies, because you are going to have different people, different students, different peers in different courses. And I have noticed so many times as a PTS instructor watching groups struggle because someone will say, oh, well, we have this for this class, and someone in the group just won't be talking. And then it turns out that, oh, they have a job or they're not able to meet on Fridays, but they're not speaking up. So anytime you have a concern, anytime you have a need, anytime you have a scheduling obstacle, it's really important to communicate that with your peers and also with your instructor. So if your class is online and you have registered for a class and that class has a live lecture online, let's say it's Tuesday nights at 6:30, and you are expected as per the course outline to be in that course, before the course starts, if there's a challenge with being there, you must communicate that with your instructor. There is no way for your instructor to know what's going on in your life or in your schedule unless you communicate early and often. Another thing that I've seen happen with many of my PTS students as an instructor, but also as the associate dean, is sometimes people fall ill and they fail to let their instructor know what's happening. Again, even in an in-person format, we have a hard time keeping track of what everyone's doing. We're all adults, so all your information is private, right? We don't get it from anyone else at the Institute. So really, really important that you communicate with your instructor, and your instructor will let you know if they require a medical note or a certificate or something from TELUS eHealth, right? But you have to open up that channel of communication first. So when you open up that channel of communication, you need to provide your instructor with enough details for decisions. Again, I've gotten over 100 emails from students who don't tell me what course they're talking about. And a lot of students have similar names or similar last names. Just make it easy on your instructor. Nice to provide your student number, but very critical to tell them which class you're talking about. I'm emailing you about operations management, OPMT 1100 Tuesday night class. Boom, that helps your instructor so much. The other thing is the professionalism of your communications. So if you see this little example, I took this from a website called phdcomics.com, but it definitely looks like emails that I get. Hey, ma'am, how are you? Lol, missed midterm, feeling unwell, BRB. None of that kind of language is what we're going to put in a professional email. And actually, Melanie, you had something to say about this last night. Maybe you want to jump in here again.
Yeah, honestly, going through this through the slide, I would probably say that, you know, with a Google Suite, if you're not a fan of it, probably start getting used to it, because a lot of the big agencies, especially national agencies, for my agency, we use it because we have the federal government account and we also have the provincial government account, and then Montreal has the other provincial government account. So when we are planning like national campaigns, it's super, super useful. There was an incident where we had an intern who just refused to use the Google Suite. And so we actually had problems trying to transfer her PowerPoint deck onto the Google Suite PowerPoint deck. But in terms of professionalism, if you're not used to working in an office environment, or you don't really know how to approach that, this would be a good time for you to practice. Because one of the things that we are looking for when we do take an intern, you know, you at least have to know how to send out professional emails. Like, it's another thing if your vendor or, you know, the client who's a VP of whatever, you know, sends like, oh, LOL, BRB, whatever. Like, you can't act that way. They've already done their time and they have enough clout under their belt that they are allowed to do that. But in terms of being on the other side and being agency side, always be professional. And, you know, I do expect our interns to at least know how to ask professionally for, you know, questions towards vendors. Or, you know, if I ask you, hey, can you ask, you know, Lamar, if you can negotiate that contract, I do expect you to know how to communicate that in a professional manner, instead of just asking me like, how do I ask how to negotiate a contract? Because then I'm just gonna tell you, like, just ask them. What do you mean? I don't, just ask.
Awesome. So I just think it's neat to hear Melanie's perspective as someone who's come through the program, but also now is hiring people, that there's no time like right now to start with your professional communication skills. Absolutely.
It's not a stretch when people say like, oh, whatever you learn in school is transferable into the workplace. It absolutely is. It sounds, you may not believe it, but it actually is.
Awesome. So just to recap our kind of our keys here, it's really important to set your mindset ahead of you starting your program and share your mindset with others. Share this with the other people in your life, especially as PTS students. I know most of you do have family obligations. I myself have children. I'm surprised you haven't heard them yet. So make sure that you are letting the people in your life know what's about to happen. Prioritize all your tasks. Again, you know, as an instructor, there's nothing more challenging than when a student says to me, we have an exam next week, but I have an exam in my other 2 classes. Yes, that is how it is around here. So you, just like in industry, you're going to have lots of projects. They're always all going to be due at the same time. Your exams are typically all going to be at the same time. And that's really similar to in the workforce, when in a project, there's just going to be that super crunchy time when everything is due. So create your tools and your frameworks ahead of time. And then lastly, get help when you need it. There's nothing honestly more heartbreaking as a new associate dean than having a student referred to me, or having a student come to me after a class is over, after they've failed the final exam, saying, please, can you help me in this class? Because after the class is finished, there's really not that much that we can do to help you. So the more proactive you are in your classes, the better it's going to be for everyone. And we really do only want you to succeed. That's why we're here on our Tuesday evening, you know, doing this webinar, is because we want to give you those tools. So I am going to turn it over to our panel for some words of wisdom, and then I'm also going to open it up to Q&A. I'm just trying to figure out how I stop sharing my screen. Stop share. Just want to, I think it's better if we can see everyone's faces. And so I'm going to turn it over to each panelist. We are going to start with Taryn, just for some extra little last words of wisdom.
Perfect. Thank you, Morgan. So I have 2 pieces of my words of wisdom. And the first I'll start off with is to stay organized. For me, being in part-time or in full-time, sorry, is different from part-time in terms of the amount of exams I had all at once at around exam time. But I did find it really useful to stay really organized, as you saw through the deck with my folders that I have on my desktop. I just like keeping all of my notes super organized, and I do remember Morgan saying, for when it came to my sales final exam, to make a master document when I was studying, and I found that with all my notes combined for every course into one document, it really made studying for exams a lot more efficient. And my second piece of advice would be also just to always stay in a routine, keep a routine and keep exercising and keep giving yourself breaks in between your daily activities to really stay focused and on track. And one thing that I did say yesterday, which I do think is really helpful, was what I heard from Anita, to wear blue light glasses when I'm on the screen for a long time. I do find that it helped with long screen time, and yeah, I do recommend that if you're worried about being on your screen for a lot of time, to get some blue light glasses. They're very helpful.
Fantastic. Okay, over to Maria.
Sweet. So I have one more than yesterday. I have 3 pieces of advice today because I came up with another one, so too bad. So my first and foremost is to get yourself set up for your week. So give yourself that extra hour on Sunday, look at all your due dates for the week, do your little red, yellow, green lights, or the 4-box, whatever works, prioritize your tasks, throw in a bunch of stuff on your to-do list, but figure out when all your lectures are, when all your classes are. Just get yourself set up on Sunday so you're not scrambling on Tuesday and saying, oh my God, what do I need to do today? Put all your meetings in. I live and breathe Google. So yes, put it in your Google Calendar, color code it, or write a written list, doesn't matter, but just give yourself that peace of mind during the week to know, okay, what do I need to do today? You can look back and say, okay, I set myself up on Sunday. I have everything written out. You're going to feel a lot better, especially obviously, I was also a full-time student, but it applies the same for part-time, just getting yourself nice and organized. Another big thing, which I realized pretty quickly into quarantine, is as an online student, having an actual workspace makes a really big difference. So not really doing work on your bed that leads to a lot of naps that are 3 hours after your lectures, and that's not very productive unless you need one, then it's fine. But getting a desk or using your kitchen table or something where it's a specific space, give yourself so you can say, okay, this is my workspace. I am working right now for the next 2 hours. Then I'm going to step away from my workspace, get lunch, whatever, go back to my workspace. It helps you make a routine, as Taryn said, which is super important. And the third thing to add is just your instructors they're all from the industry. They're all brilliant. Use their knowledge. Use them as much as possible with communications. I am still on like weekly Zoom calls with my program head, and I'm graduated. They are all they're all very knowledgeable. They will be able to help you. Just reach out to them, ask them for a quick Zoom call, or ask them for a quick call if you need help with anything, even if it's not necessarily course related, but just with career stuff. They all have a lot of background knowledge. They have a lot of industry experience. That's the big thing with BCIT that's super awesome, is they're not all just PhDs of whatever. They all actually have industry experience. And as with Morgan, a lot of them are BCIT grads. So they know what it's like. So just keep on annoying them as much as possible until they tell you to stop talking to them, which would be upsetting, but just keep on doing it. Just keep doing it. They're really helpful.
She's right. Keep doing it. Instructors, if you're passionate about your program and you really want to do well in it, and you're asking for advice and help towards your career, we're here because we want you to succeed. So that's very, very true. Okay, over to Anita.
Thank you, Morgan. Sorry, everyone. I'm having technical difficulties with my webcam again, so there's no more video. My one piece of advice would be to do it early, following the theme of what Maria said, planning it out, keeping yourself organized. It's really important, but I found that with part-time studies, you have other things going on as well. And if you don't do it early, you might forget. And then that's going to cost you a lot of stuff. So make sure you do it early, make sure you focus and take it seriously, even though you have so many other things going on.
Very, very true. Okay, over to Melanie.
My words of wisdom would be, start your good habits now, because whatever habits that you have now will carry on in your professional career. So if you don't know how to communicate with your peers or your instructors, when it comes time when you're working in the industry, it's going to be so much more intimidating to ask your VP a question, especially when you don't know something or if you messed up, because it will happen. Mistakes happen every day. And my director told me that when I did make my first mistake, he did tell me that the art of advertising is how you fix that mistake, because it's bound to happen. So start your good habits now, like learn how to communicate, learn how to set yourself up, like what Maria said, do as much as you can to prepare So that way, when you are, let's say you need to push a campaign or you're super tight with timelines, then at least you give yourself that buffer to fix it instead of going back to the client and telling them that you messed up. So now you're gonna have to start late because of you. So start your good habits, because they definitely carry on and they define you. And you'd be so surprised how small the industry is. Your reputation is everything, pretty much.
That's very, very true. Okay, over to Daniel.
So at this point, I don't want to sound repetitive. I know everybody said organization, but really, like, it's not my thing at all. And I don't know if you can see this little calendar up here in the corner, but this thing has saved me like endless times. So definitely just writing stuff down, because you will forget it, even though you say you won't, whatever, you know, if you see it, you'll know you'll get it done. That said, with the coursework BCIT has, and I know it's different for part-time, but again, it is very easy to lose track of time. Try to bang it out right away. If you, like, I get we have prior commitments, especially with full-time or part-time, but if you can bang something out right away, you will thank yourself later. I know I have, especially towards the end of the semester, where you will get the snowball effect from, you know, letting stuff pile up, and now you have X amount of finals coming up. So definitely that. Lastly, I know Morgan mentioned it a lot with BCIT being full of teamwork, but like really, like, it's mostly teamwork. So keep an open mind, because you are going to meet a lot of people that have a very different mindset than you. And that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to clash, but it's definitely going to be something that may be difficult for you to understand why they do the things that they do in the way that they do. And you can honestly learn from it as well as benefit from it, from working in teams and, you know, achieving what you're trying to do. So definitely open mindset is huge.
That's great. Thank you. And over to Hunter.
Thanks, Morgan. Well, I have to preface with the notion that I have never once attended a part-time course in my life. So I'm not sure how applicable this will be, but I sort of have three principles that three high-level principles, I would say, that sort of help me, I guess, formulate better decision-making throughout my time at BCIT, and I guess in my personal life as well. Those three principles being always aim to be proud of the work that you complete. The second being try not to take any more time than you need to on your tasks. And third is make sure that nobody gets left behind. It's really important, I think, that that you take pride in your work, not just because every single thing is important, but it really speaks to your ability to complete meaningful work and high quality work. And it's not just employers or even yourself that has to pick up on that. The people around you will notice when you complete high quality work. And it definitely goes a long way with helping yourself. With the second point, never taking more time than you need, I've always found that to be quite important, that if you can do something in 5 minutes, don't take 10 minutes. There is going to be a lot of work that you need to complete at BCIT. So trying to ensure that you're keeping a schedule, that you're keeping yourself on track is quite a crucial skill to master. And the last one, ensuring that nobody gets left behind. I understand that the part-time programs, they don't have the separate program. That being said, it is still so important that you make sure the people around you are feeling supported, because at some point you're also going to need that support. And it's just an incredibly it's an incredibly important thing for you to develop that culture within your class, to ensure that you can lean on someone and they can lean on you when the time presents itself. For some more, I guess, tangible words of wisdom, I would say in the morning when you're getting ready to go to class or to start the webinar, go for a short walk beforehand. A lot of people are quite used to, in a typical school year, you'll either drive to school or you'll take the bus, and that sort of sets the tone for you getting ready to enter your day. Now, if you can set up a small barrier between you getting ready in the morning and starting your day as a student, it's very helpful to do that, whether it's going for a walk or doing something else. It's nice to have that small barrier. And the same goes for the end of the day. When you've wrapped everything up and you're getting ready to sort of settle into your evening, maybe before dinner, just go for a short walk or, play some music, that kind of thing. But create a barrier between where your school day ends and your personal life begins. I guess, the last bit of advice that I would offer is throw on a dress shirt or something if you can. Having a little bit of something to dress up and show yourself that you're getting in the spirit to learn. I find to be a very helpful tool. So yeah.
That's fantastic. Hence the blazer, right? It's just that little thing of like, okay, now I'm in this mode, right? I'm not for this little while. I'm at work. I'm not momming it. I mean business, which is so true at the BCIT School of Business. So that really wraps up the content that we had planned for today. We have left some time for Q&A. I don't see any questions in the Q&A, but we'll give a minute or so for anyone if you have any questions for either a specific member of the panel or specific to something we've talked about, or maybe just because you have a burning question about BCIT and nobody has answered it for you yet. That's what we are here to do. This is
Morgan,
my
I
waiting
was
for
wondering
questions.
while we wait for questions if Taryn has her blue glasses she's talking about. I don't even know what blue glasses look like. Are they just blue glasses?
They're, I have a pair, but I don't have them on me right now. They're basically, the blue light in your screen can make you, like, if you're on your computer right before you go to bed, it can stimulate, like, it halts your brain from, like, calming down, I guess. I don't really know the scientific explanation behind it, but it does make your eyes a bit more sore looking at the screen. So it just kind of blocks out that light pollution from your screen.
So you buy those at, like, London Drugs?
I think so. You can also get them on Amazon. I know you can find them on Amazon.
Yeah. Nice. I think I'll, because I just find at the end of the day, for me, my eyes are definitely tired. I just feel it, like, right here. Yeah. Okay, so I'll anything else from the panel that you'd like, we still have a bit of time, if there's anything else that anybody would like to add? Okay, well, there's some, yes. Good luck is yes, is good. Okay, well, sounds good. Well, if there's any questions, you can certainly write them before we wrap up here. Morgan, any word last?
I mean, I like to think that we put together a pretty well organized and tight presentation. I really don't have much more to say except for just that really BCIT has been such an amazing experience for me, and I know that it can be for you as well. There's a reason why I went to a regular university and then I came to BCIT. I went out and I worked in industry. I was really successful in my career, but it's been such a pleasure to come back and teach in the School of Business, and then now to be part of the administration team in the School of Business, I think should give you an indication of what a great place it is to come and learn and, like, really change your life. And so if you approach all of your studies in the fall with that spirit, I think you're going to be in a really good position. And as we said many, many times, just being able to reach out, especially as a part-time study student, it is a bit harder. So really to push yourself to meet other people in your program, people from different countries, different backgrounds, that work in different industries, and start building your network there. And then, using your instructor and your program head and the other contacts that you make to create that safety net and that network for you to move yourself forward through your program. And if you keep at it, I mean, this is just a handful of the amazing people that have been in our programs over the last couple of years, but hundreds of more people who have come through BCIT and are working successfully in industry because of the work that they put in. It's a very short amount of time. It's very hard work, but you absolutely can do it. And then we can have you out for a webinar in a couple of years, or maybe even an in-person session. That would be fantastic.
Yes. Well, thank you, Morgan. I know I've only been working at BCIT for a year, so not I'm kind of the rookie at BCIT, and I've worked at a few different institutions, and I've always been amazed at the strong culture and passion that BCIT has towards learning and students, and how I really have met some great students, and how caring faculty and staff are. So all of you will really have a great time. So again, thank you to the panel. It's always good for me. It was good to listen to you guys yesterday and today, to be reminded of things like, you know, do dress up. Like sometimes I go for a run and I sit in front of my computer to do some work, and I have like my ponytail and my sweaty, and I'm like, oh no, I'm not really feeling comfortable. I need to kind of step up my game when I work from home. So I think those were helpful tips. Set up your station for sure. The blue glasses, I will go look for that. Hunter, I like your tip again about taking care of each other. I think that's really, really important. Start your good habits from the start. I think a few of you said that. So thank you so much for all these great tips. So for people who have joined us tonight, just as a reminder, next week we're going to talk about technology that we're going to use in the classroom. I think the following one's about library and academic integrity. And actually, Hunter, I don't know if you've been invited, but maybe we should invite student clubs and student association. So maybe we'll reach out for that if you just want to come and say a quick hi. So the next 3 session will be really interesting for you guys. And again, a reminder to let people that you know that are taking PTS course that they can access the recording. I think I put the link in the chat. And with that, I guess I'll wish you all good night. Thank you again, Morgan, Alicia, and guests. Have a great evening. Be kind to yourself and others, and stay safe and healthy. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank
Thanks,
you.
guys. Bye.